Okay, so we are now beginning. First of all, I need you guys to open up a new ActionScript 3.0 file. And now once you have it open, we're going to create some kind of character on our stage. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw myself a character, we'll say. Make it into a movie clip. I'll use black just because it's easy. It's already there. Select it, right click, convert to symbol, make it into a movie clip, then it pops up into my library. Now I'm going to create myself a bad guy. So for a bad guy, I'm just going to make myself a block. I'm going to convert that to a movie symbol. I'm going to call it, already there, yep. I'm going to call it block. Now here's where things get different. Under the Advanced tab, I'm going to select the drop down and select ActionScript linkage, export for ActionScript. So that way my name automatically becomes class, and I can click OK. And yes, we do want to have a class generate. Now the difference is in our library, you have symbol 1, which is your hero, no linkage, your block, and it has a linkage. Next thing we need to do is we need to give our hero an instance name. So if you select your hero, make sure he's highlighted in blue. Click on properties. I'm going to call my player _MC. Enter. Now our block, we're not going to give it an instance name. We are going to strictly use its linkage name, which we've already set up by exporting it. If by chance you happen to skip that step, you can always right click on your icon, go to properties, and turn it on from there. Okay? All right. So the first thing we need to do is we need to make our character move. So I'm going to make myself a new layer, call it actions. Make sure my cell is selected, my frame. Go to Window, Actions, and I'm in my Actions panel. You can see that I have Actions Frame 1. Now from here, I'm going to go onto D2L and access, do I have it in Safari? I'm going to access a Word document that's on D2L. So in the news component of the D2L segment, you will find an update right after week 15. Okay, I believe it'll show up somewhere around here. And it says, as its first step, first set of code, add event listener, enter frame, main loop, and player _MC.y equals mouse.y. So I'm going to copy all of this stuff. Once my mouse decides to cooperate. There we go. Right click, copy, go back into my Flash, my Actions panel, right click, or Command V, it's up to you, paste. Now the important thing to know is that when I reference player _MC, that is the instance name that I created for my player. If you don't have the actual instance name, it will not work. I'm just going to reference, this is the instance name. And you can see that my main loop is the same as my function main loop. So if I run my program right now, and I export my Swift file, we should have our player, y coordinate attached to the mouse y coordinate. Might take a little while because I have a few things open at the same time. And there we go. I can go left to right, but I only have my player attached to my y coordinate, which is exactly what I want for a Flappy game bird. Okay, the next thing we want to do, I'm going to close out of my action script, is I'm going to go into the timeline for my block. Not the same timeline that's scene 1 for your player. You're going to double click into your symbol so that you have scene 1 and block. See how you have a fresh timeline here? Going to create a new layer, call this layer actions, and I'm going to go into my actions panel, window, actions, go back into my Word document, right over here, second class of code. So I'm going to copy all of this up to my bracket, okay, because bracket for my function open, close function, if statement open, if statement close. Command C, go back over here, Command V. Now I'm not actually referencing any names because my event listener is an enter frame event. As long as my block is on the screen, all of this will occur. So anytime I reference X, I'm referring to the X coordinate of the block. Okay? Now if we have everything spelled correctly and you run it, you should have a block coming at you. Success. Now you can always change the speed by adjusting the speed components, not necessarily the speed definition that we established with our variable, but speed equals speed plus 1. I could change that to speed equals speed plus 0.05, and that way it would be a lot more reasonable of a speed when it's coming at you. The next piece of code we're going to do, we're going to go back to scene 1. We're going to go back to our main timeline here. So I'm going to go back into my code, window, actions. Now I'm on phase 3. Now the third class has some doubles because we're adding to our code. So when we have our import flash event, that's already going to be there. Our event listener should already be there. Some extra comments that I've added in between class 1 and class 3. Now we have player mc.y equals mouse y. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy everything after that, or we can include it. We just have to remember to take out our brackets. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 open brackets, 1, 2, 3, 4 closed curly brace brackets. So I think that's what I'll do, is I will copy all of my brackets so that way you guys have the comments as well. Command C. Now I'm not copying the function main loop, so when I go into my code, I make sure that I do not copy my main loop. So I'm replacing these guys, delete, right click, paste, and everything should be good. Now one thing you guys need to notice is that in the comments in my Word document, when I have my if statement, if get child at I is block, notice that block is my linkage name. Okay? Remember when we exported for ActionScript? Whatever symbol name you chose, if you selected that little box at the exact same moment, this will be your linkage name. Make sure you spell it correctly with no spaces. If everything is going well and you run your program, then anytime you hit an object, your output panel will say hit. There you go, output. You hit something. You can always change that to be more specific, like you hit a block, or you hit a student, or you hit whatever you want. As long as your variable name block is your linkage name, you're good to go. Make sure that if you're writing this down from the classroom board, that you're not using the number 1. It looks very similar to the letter I. Okay, and if you have player underscore MC.x equals mouse x, that's fine as well. Just make sure that you have everything working. That's pretty much it. I'm going to check my errors, and there's no errors obviously for this one. I'm going to align it so it looks nice and neat, and you'll see that my, oh, there we go. It's telling me that block is a linkage name. So right here, it's telling me that my comment here is preventing me from auto-formatting, which is perfectly fine. Everything else cascades down, and then when I'm done, it cascades back in. Hopefully you guys are in class and you guys can understand this a bit more, but that'll be it for now, and we'll see you guys next time.